My work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Yes, so I'm finally taking a little bit of a break from playing so much Kingdom Hearts and Persona 3 Reload to actually share my thoughts about the Kingdom chapters that I have been reading, of which I have recently made it past chapter 107. So let's go ahead and kind of talk about some of the good and the bad of that last group of chapters I read. Sit back and relax as I talk about the Battle of Dakan Plains, Sai's flashback, and of course, the assassination arcs. Let's start off by talking about a couple of the negatives I had, because it's going to be pretty brief. I had mentioned in my previous video that I'm not really a fan of the Mulan trope, and so not only did we get there, but now we're getting it again with the character of Kyokai. So how do you pronounce her name? Kyokai? Kyokai, the assassin girl? Now, I actually do like her a lot as a character. I think introducing this this tribe, this clan of assassin women, and her having to go on this revenge quest to find the person that had her sister killed during the trial, whatever. Like that's super interesting. That's fascinating, and that's definitely something I want to follow more as we go throughout the story. Like at this point, I'm just happy to have more female characters in the story. Like we had Kyokai, we had Ten. More the merrier, I say. I just don't like that we have to go through this process of having to pretend to be a guy in order to get introduced to the story at all. Like I'm aware that in reality, that was one of the very few ways women could get involved during this time period, is they had to pretend to be guys. But like, my feeling on this is a fictional story. Yes, it is taking inspiration from real life events, but it's still a fictional story. We probably don't need to adhere to what was actually happening that strictly. Like, you just bring them in. We don't have to do this whole Mulan stuff. Okay, and the second thing I kind of realized reading through these chapters that I'm not super into is I really am just not like super engaged with some of the less important battles, I guess you could say. Like when it's just Shin and his squad fighting a bunch of random grunts. It's just, I'm having a hard time keeping focused. I'm having a hard time like finding the motivation to want to keep pushing through that, because like until the story proves otherwise, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really feel any tension. And like, yeah, they're gonna mop up the grunts, the fodder, and then the only things that like really matter, it feels like, is when like a general or like some higher ranking military officer is involved. Because up until that point, it's like Shin's just gonna steamroll him, right? Which does kind of tie into another gripe I have, where it's like I feel like Shin is just constantly being reckless. He's just like charging head first, and he's not really getting punished for this. I know the story does actually call this out at one point. Kyokai is like, hey, that recklessness is gonna get you in trouble one of these days. So like, I think the author is aware of it at this point, and it might come into play in the future, but at least for now, I feel like Shin's bullheadedness, his recklessness is kind of just getting on my nerve, because he can kind of just run into any combat situation, it feels like, and he'll be fine. There doesn't feel like there's any consequences for him doing that yet. Like, I do want to reiterate, a lot of these are more nitpicky in nature. They're not really deal breakers on their own. In fact, there are actually quite a few things that I have enjoyed, and let's get into those right now. So like I already mentioned, I do like Kyokai. I like her story. I like her being involved in the story. And I do like how she is kind of a mentor figure to Ten. I mean, not really, but she is helping her to step up and become a more active participant in the story. Like, we get this moment where Ten confesses that she is nervous, she's worried about whether or not she's going to have the capability to step up and defend people she cares about, and she really admires that Kyokai has the ability to do that for, you know, the people she does care for. So she confides in Kyokai. It's like, hey, can you show me a thing or two? Which, that doesn't actually really lead to her getting assassin training or anything, but it does lead her down this road of becoming a strategist, and she's getting more involved in like the political side of things, it seems like. So like that's interesting. Wasn't quite the route I thought we were going to be taking with that, but it's still like an interesting thing. I like how she's now inside enemy territory. She's in the she's under the supervision of Chancellor Rio's people. So like that's a plot thread that I'm kind of like into, and I want to see where it goes. You know, I'm referencing my previous video a lot, but like in my last video, I think I had made a comment about how I wasn't really feeling the king, Tsai, as like a character. I wasn't really like, why is this a person I should get behind and root for? And my feelings on that have changed a little bit. We finally got more of a backstory for him, how he was born and raised in enemy territory and had to get rescued and brought back to the kingdom of Quinn, which I thought that was all a fun story. I really enjoyed that little rescue mission and the characters we were introduced to there. And then watching this young boy who had to go through so much trauma, like to the point where his physical senses were shut down because he was like getting beaten and tortured almost. Like it was a really tragic and heartbreaking thing to read, but it definitely helps paint who he is now in the present a lot better. And so now we're at the point where like whenever I see him and he's like second guessing his ability to lead, or like trying to make a decision that's very impactful, he's having to navigate the complexities of being a leader. Like I'm definitely like more behind him. I'm more willing to kind of root for him after everything we have gone through. And as you guys know, I'm already a big fan of General Oiki. We get more of him here. He is still aura farming like crazy. And we get like more exposition, more lore on the concept of the great generals. I've got a couple of other generals introduced into the mix that I really enjoyed seeing, especially like the fight between Gokei and Duke Hyo. Like that, I thought that whole fight, the climax of the Dakan Plains fight and the two generals going at it, was super exciting. I really enjoyed that. Honestly, anytime one of the generals is on screen or on the page, it's like they have such a bigger than life presence. They just demand so much attention from not just the reader, but like every character in the story at that point. It's like, yes, I feel like Kingdom is at its best when you have these massive figures, not just physically massive, but just like they have so much aura and presence that like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like whenever the generals are involved, it's like I'm hyper focused. I want to see what happens. I cannot stop reading until I see what happens. Now, as we start to move towards the wrap up of this video, I'm feeling a little conflicted, because even though I've had mostly positive things to say about Kingdom, I keep finding myself really struggling to get invested into it. Like when I really break it down and look at some of the individual aspects of the story so far, there's not much I would say, oh, I don't like that, or that's something I would prefer to have done a different way. But like somehow when it all comes together, I'm just like not fully feeling everything, if that makes any sense. Like I admire a handful of the characters we've been introduced to. I find the political situation of all these warring kingdoms interesting, but it's just like, man, I have to keep like forcing myself to pick the book back up and continue reading, even though there's a lot of individual elements I do like. And when I step back and look at Kingdom as a whole, it's like, yeah, this is something I really should be into, and I know a lot of people are huge fans of it, but like I'm almost frustrated with myself because I'm like, I feel like I should be liking this more than I have been. With that said though, I'm not dropping it, at least not right now. I've heard some people say the next section, was it the Battle of Bayou or something like that, is one of their favorites of the entire series, and it's a long ass series, so that's saying something. So like my intention is, I'm at least gonna continue forward. I'm gonna try to get to the end of this upcoming conflict, and at that point I have to make a decision, like am I actually still like, am I enjoying the series, am I gonna continue on, or am I just gonna settle with this being kind of my time to pause? What will the future hold? I don't know. I'm gonna have to pick the book back up and continue reading. So until that happens, I'm going to throw it back to you guys. Let me know in the comments. What do you think of Kingdom? And are you experiencing, or have you experienced similar issues I have had so far? And if you have gotten over that hump, let me know what part made you feel differently. Because I'm just curious to see if I'm the only person that's kind of in this weird situation where like I feel like I should be liking it more, and I just have not been able to find the love that I want to find. But that's all I got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Kyle, and remember, be good people. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.